Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm going to grab this chair.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mr. Adams, welcome. We got a couple of our members on this laptops as well, so if you see that, if you have trouble hearing, we can speak louder. We got Andrew, Raven, and Chris Green on there. So, well, you've been with us before. I mean, I know most of us, I think, have talked to you, but you want to just, for as a reminder for any new members who haven't, just give us a couple minutes who you are and why you want to be a county judge.
Sure. It's kind of hard with the peripheral here to make eye contact with everybody, but my name's Craig Atack, and I've been a public defender the last 15 years. So starting in 2006, I was assigned to a county court docket in Daytona Beach. I did that for 2 years. I then did a felony trial docket in Daytona Beach for another 2 years. Around 2010, my long-sought transfer to St. Johns County occurred, and I worked a felony trial docket in front of Judge Berger here for about 3 years. In 2013, I transferred to our office's appellate division, where I handled writing appeals for the 5th District, and I was simultaneously assigned with our office's sexually violent predator docket, and that's a circuit-wide assignment that required me to travel to the different courtrooms in our circuit, continuing to try jury trials and argue motions. And as we all know, at the end of 2020, Matthew Mess was elected the public defender for our circuit. He offered me the position of division chief here in St. Johns County, which I accepted, and I've been practicing in front of Judge Tinlin on a county court docket since the beginning of 2021. So I've been I am a homeowner in St. Johns County, and have been for 11 years, and I've been handling St. Johns County cases let me rephrase that. I've been a homeowner in St. Johns County since 2011. Been handling St. Johns County cases for 11 years. If I can take a second to highlight why I think I'm an ideal candidate for this position, I really lean into my experience as a public defender. I've spoken to a number of judges and I also agree that the transition from the public defender to the bench is a relatively smooth one, in that a lot of the things that public defenders do are also what judges need to do. So, like judges, we have huge caseloads, so we understand case management. And like judges, we understand that clients that come to us believe that their case is the most important case in the world, and we respect that and treat them individually and professionally. Like judges, we're in the courtroom every day. And also like judges, we see the public in maybe less than ideal circumstances. So specifically, I think my resume mirrors a lot of the governor's most recent appointments, in that I have extensive trial experience, extensive appellate experience, and I'm the division chief of an office. So I hope the committee would feel comfortable knowing with my trial, courtroom experience, and appellate experience that I would run an efficient docket. But I also present to you with some experience managing an office. So the St. John's office has 8 lawyers, 7 legal assistants, and we practice in front of about 5 judges here in St. Johns County. And I can tell you that my experience, my circuit-wide experience in these last 15 years has resulted in some good relationships with the judiciary in the 7th, and that's already benefited me in my role as a division chief. And I'd also just note, maybe my resume is unique in that I have some real-world experience before going to law school. Before becoming a lawyer, I worked in retail, I worked in the restaurant business, and those experiences helped me in my present job and will continue to help me in future occupations. And before law school, I was a high school teacher. So I can only imagine that controlling a courtroom can't be as difficult as handling a classroom full of 14-year-olds. Jokes aside, I'd also note that if I was appointed, I believe I could hold this seat should it be challenged in an election cycle. In 2012, I ran for, I say that because I have some experience running a campaign. In 2012, I ran for Flagler County Judge, where I won a 7-person primary, and I like to think I barely lost the general. I did lose it by a little more than 1% of the vote, but I have that experience of running a campaign, and I have that experience and I have the energy to do it again. So that's my intro.
And I was going to ask you about that, because I always think of you as a Flagler person. I mean,
Sure.
do you have a house in Flagler still?
I do, yep.
But your primary residence is St. John's or Flagler?
It is now St. John's, yep.
And why St. John's instead of Flagler County?
Well, the commute, really. So when I worked here between 2010 and 2013, I purchased a home. In 2011, when I lived in, and then when I had rented that home all those years, and I've moved back into it.
And you said you're now doing county court for your job?
Yes, sir.
Do you still do any circuit court stuff?
No. I've tried some cases in front of co-counsel in front of Judge Smith when the COVID restrictions lifted. We had a couple cases go to trial. So I sat second chair on a couple of those trials, but I'm not assigned to a circuit docket.
And now that you're in St. Johns County, talk to us about your ties to the community in St. Johns. I know you have a bunch in Flagler.
Yeah, fair. Well, my ties to the community would include having lived here for 3 years and practiced here for 3 years between 2010 and 2013. And during that time, I got to know the judiciary and local lawyers. The house is on St. Augustine Beach, so I know that area relatively well. And I guess my other ties to St. Johns County would be growing up in Flagler County. Coming to St. Augustine is a pretty routine thing to do if you're from Flagler, especially if you're from Flagler County in the 80s when there was nothing else to do, so you can either go to Daytona or go to St. Augustine. So I'm familiar with St. John's. Yes?
Why haven't you run for judge since, was it 2012 you ran before?
I ran in 2012. Well, the opportunity to run in Flagler, it just coincided with me having a child and getting married, and frankly, that's an expensive endeavor, and that money needed to go elsewhere. But now I'm in a position to run again should I need to. So that cycle's only come up once since 2012.
Mr. Atack, can you hear me?
I can, yep.
Great. That's our first test run on the Zoom questions. As part of the investigation process, my office, as chair, I pull the voter registration for all of the applicants. That's a standard process. And your voter registration did not come back to St. Johns County, but rather Flagler County. Is there a reason you're not a registered voter in St. John's?
I think, when did you pull it? How recently? Because I have a piece of paper in my house that says I'm registered in St. John's.
And that very well maybe is an issue with the supervisor of elections, but we would have run it in the last 2 weeks.
Huh. Well, I should be registered in St. John's.
For this last election, did you vote here?
No, not in the last election. I voted in Flagler, and that would be because I didn't know about this promotion until after the election. But yeah, I was living in Flagler as late as say February, and then moved back into my home that I owned here. Does that answer? Good morning.
Of the judges that you have appeared before, can you describe, is there one or two you would use as a role model that you would emulate were you the appointed bench?
So I've, yes sir.
And why?
And why? Thank you. It might be recency and primacy, but practicing in front of Judge Tinlin has been a pleasure. Most of my experience really has been in front of circuit judges, so when I think back to my county court experience, that's with the now deceased Judge Beck in Daytona Beach. And that was all, I really liked working in front of Judge Beck. I think at the time I didn't recognize what a great judge he was because I didn't have much to compare him to. I guess maybe my parents, but since working in front of Judge Tinlin, I am surprised more judges don't try to run a docket the way he does. He is very streamlined, but yet he still treats every person individually. He has no problem picking the phone up and calling, alleged victims to check on no contact orders in the middle of court or at first appearances. He will check the docket. He's very kind of no nonsense, but definitely giving everybody the attention they deserve, specific to that particular hearing. So, he recognizes that at first appearances he's not here to listen to everything about the case, but he will address a no contact order at first appearances right there in court. And similarly, if we go on to a pretrial, he just does the job very efficiently and very well. And it might be because I'm in front of him right now, and I just haven't been in front of a county court judge in a long time. But I would say Judge Tinlin is a good example.
Mr. Atack, I have a question for you. What civil experience do you have?
Thanks. So when I handled the sexually violent predator docket, which I did for about 7 years, the rules of civil procedure apply under that statute. So that would be my experience with the civil docket, but I would note that the rules of evidence apply in the civil context as well. So I'm fluent in the rules of evidence after all these years as a defense attorney, and I'm confident that I can handle the civil docket.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You also had, am I not correct, looking at your application, when you were with the District Court of Appeal, you also represented clients facing involuntary civil commitment as well as those involved in involuntary civil commitment treatment programs.
Yes, sir.
So was there not some interaction with the civil?
Absolutely, and that's what I was referring to.
Okay.
The involuntary civil commitment falls under a statute called the sexually violent predator statute.
Okay.
Some people call that the Jimmy Rice statute. They're
Yeah.
trying to phase that terminology out, but that's what I was referring
Okay,
to.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you.
And the rules of civil procedure apply there. Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
have a question. I noticed you're not a member of any of the local bar associations. What role, if you're selected, what role would you take in your relationship with those bars? How do you envision that relationship?
Well, when I was working in Daytona, I've gone to those meetings at the Oyster Pub, and I've noticed judges will go there and give presentations. I wouldn't have any objection to doing that if I was asked to do that, or any developments in the law or just maybe developments in how the judiciary is working. That would be something we present to the local bar. I would have no problem doing that.
Mr. Attic,
Yes, sir.
the rules, either out of necessity or whatever it may be of the county court judges, they are often dealing with new lawyers, both as public defenders and prosecutors. Tell me how, as a judge, you would try and mentor or interact with those individuals and help them become better.
Thank you. I think that's really a fine line, because the rules for a judge really require them to stand back, especially in proceedings like a jury trial or something. But I have had an experience kind of coming up where judges took me into chambers with the prosecutor and said, just gave some helpful hints on, like, this is how you should work this. Prosecute your officers are too high, or you can kind of suggest how things could run smoother. I guess in addition to that, as a division chief here, I'm working with young, fresh out of law school prosecutors, which is kind of interesting for me. I feel bad for them that they have to deal with a defense attorney who has 15 years of experience, but I've been able to assist the prosecutors that I work with in a way that doesn't, not to the detriment of my clients, but just kind of help them understand the process, just give them some explanation as to the phrases that we use, and I don't know, just what to expect. I think my experience would help in that area.
Anything else from anybody? Mr. Attic, I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again for your time, and we have a good number for you. I take it whoever.
I did.
Okay, so if we have a good number for you, we'll give you a call
Okay.
later today. We'll be busy, so it'll probably be 5 o'clock-ish.
Sure.
The 503 number?
Yes. Yep. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
And I recognize that you guys are volunteering your time, and I appreciate that also. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Everybody ready for the next one?
Yeah.